classic rock, country music facts, and trivia. I'm going to start out by apologizing for not being here yesterday. I've been under the weather. Still am, actually, but I just wanted to get this out for you guys. Today's video, I actually had it prepared a couple days ago, but I'm going to do it today. Here are some of the most expensive rock and roll albums ever made. This is pretty cool, and some of them might surprise you. Queen, A Night at the Opera, 1975. The Queen had a catchphrase. It might have been "Go big or go home." At least that was the attitude when it came to making 1975's A Night at the Opera, which cost about 40,000 pounds to make. That's equivalent to 357,000 in 2024 terms, or nearly 450,000. Luckily, the investment paid off, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Business-wise, we were in crisis, Brian may recall, to classic rock in 2017. There was that feeling that if we didn't succeed, we'd always be in the red. So we were fortunate that we did make an album of our lives, and I think it is really. Brian Wilson, 1998. There are conflicting accounts of exactly how much Brian Wilson's 1988 self-titled release cost to make. One thing is for certain, it was a lot. There are reports that the final price tag was over $1 million, a bit over $2.5 million today, while Wilson himself said $800,000, which is still a whopping $2.1 million today. Wilson used nearly a dozen studios to record the album, so it makes sense that things got expensive fast. Korn, Untouchables, 2002. Korn reportedly spent somewhere in the vicinity of $4 million making 2002's Untouchables. That's close to $7 million today, thanks to not only recording expenses, but living costs too. With a 15-person crew, that meant several very expensive houses were rented for the 2-year period in which the LP was made. It was ridiculous, all the shit that we did, Jonathan Davis recalled to Vice in 2015. I can't explain how crazy or how scientific it is. To this day, when I turned it on the big system, it's the most thickest, heaviest sounding Korn has ever made. It was the peak and pinnacle of everything in Korn. I still can't believe how much work we went in on it. It was a lot. Fleetwood Mac, Tusk, 1979. Tusk was one of the most expensive albums of all times, racking up a bill for $1.4 million. That's $6.3 million in today. And truthfully, it would have been done for less. Recording Tusk was quite absurd, Christine McVie told Uncut. The studio contract writer for refreshments was like a telephone directory. Exotic food delivered to the studio, crates of champagne. It had to be the best, with no doubt of what it cost, with no thought of what it cost. Stupid, really stupid. Somebody once said, with the money we spent on champagne on one night, we could have made an entire album. And that's probably true. The Who, Tommy, 1969. Once again, $70,000 doesn't sound like an awful lot today, but in 1969, spending that kind of money on the making of one album was highly unusual. The Who, and Pete Townsend specifically, wanted to make the absolute most of Tommy, the rock opera released. That became one of the most acclaimed albums of the decade. This meant spending a lot of time in the studios, working diligently on songs, and using an 8-track machine. It took us 8 months altogether, 6 months recording, 2 months mixing, John Entwistle later recalled. We had to do so many of the tracks again because it was so long that we had to keep going back and rejuvenating the numbers that it just started to drive us mad. The Eagles, The Long Run, 1979. The Long Run was not as good as Hotel California, and it was an excruciatingly painful album to make, Don Henley admitted to Classic Rock in 2020. We were having fights all the time about the songs, enormous fights about one word, for days on end. The record took 3 years and cost $800,000, and we burned out. Other reports stated that the total cost was more like $1 million, which equates to about $4.5 million today. The irony, of course, is that the Eagles did in fact make it in the long run, despite their struggles. The Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, 1967. The Beatles' Sgt. Pepper seems like a relatively affordable made album compared to the others on the list, but not when you consider the time period. The Beatles spent a reported $25,000 to make the record, which equates to approximately $483,000 in 2024. For the 67, that was an enormous amount of cash, especially in light of the fact that the band spent around $400 on their first album just 4 years prior, which is about $7,000 in today. I've got plenty more of those. If you want them, just let me know in the comments. This kind of, some of them are kind of ridiculous. I'm sorry I can't make this any longer. I'm really feeling under the weather, and I'm hacking and coughing. You don't want to hear that. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this. And like I said, I've got more if you want, and I can go over more if you want. So let me know in the comment section below. Please don't forget about classic TV facts and trivia. It is on Archie Bunker for All in the Family. Please don't forget to subscribe to this. Please like this video if you did. Please like this video if you didn't. Just like the video. You guys have a great day. God bless. Praying for you.